Do bearing swaps stress you out? Well, they don't have to. A few years ago, I designed a basic bearing press that turns ah into oh yeah. Bearing swaps used to stress me out too, but with the right tools and the right information, they can be pretty stress-free. So let's see what we can do about that. Shortly after my basic bearing press, I started getting into hubs and free hubs. So I developed some new pieces to go with the basic bearing press to create the hub and suspension bearing press system. I even created something called an alt drift, which removes the first bearing in a BSB configuration. Ooh. I thought my hub and suspension system was pretty slick, and some knowledgeable people said some very nice things about it. But then I start getting emails. Well, I guess I need some new functionality. Thanks. The most asked question I get is regarding the leverage surface around a bearing that you're trying to remove. Now, it's ideal whenever possible to use the controlled action of a bearing press to remove a bearing. But if the leverage surface around the bearing isn't large enough or it isn't flat enough, using one of my acetal sleeves isn't going to work. It'll get mangled. So I've created a stronger set of sleeves out of aluminum. And as for the other pieces in the system that would benefit from being made stronger or more durable, I made them out of aluminum as well. Hey, wait, those drifts look different. Yeah, they now have a recess in one side which provides clearance, so you have the option of only pressing the bearing outer ring, which is sometimes required when installing bearings into a BSB hub where the bearings are preloaded. It's also useful for installing bearings that have an extended inner ring where the extension points outwards. And if the extended inner bearing ring points inwards, sometimes it'll protrude past the frame. Now, if you're working in a very tight space, you might have to use the smallest leveraging piece possible, which might turn out to be a drift. And having that recess in the new drift is going to provide you the clearance that you need for that extended inner ring. And of course, on the other side is a flat side, which you will inevitably need. Yo, Steve, you switch your whole system over to aluminum? No. When I made my original bearing press out of acetal, I got the idea from SKF. They make their small bearing press out of nylon. And nylon doesn't machine very well, so I chose acetal. And as you can see from their strength characteristics, they're virtually identical. Plus, acetal is less expensive than anodized aluminum. Is cheap the only advantage of acetal? Well, imagine you're leveraging your tool up against a customer's really expensive carbon frame. Wouldn't you feel a lot more comfortable about not scratching the paint or damaging the carbon if you're using a softer acetal sleeve or drift? So both materials still have a clear benefit. So that's why I still offer kits and packs in both acetal and in aluminum. I also developed the alt extractor, which removes the first bearing in a BSB configuration. But unlike the alt drift, the alt extractor does not require the bearing spacer to move off to the side. Plus, it comes in a wide range of sizes between 10 and 25 millimeters. And what's unique about the design of the alt extractor is that it has a claw-like grip on the bearing once you grab it, and it does it in a way that does not damage the bearing spacer that sits directly behind it. The design is based around a split collet with a small lip on it that expands inside the bearing and will naturally stop expanding when it hits the bearing inner ring. This characteristic enabled me to position the smallest possible lip exactly where it needs to be to ensure that no damage is done to the spacer. And to make sure that nothing shifts during bearing removal, the interface between the split collet and the wedge that expands it is designed in such a way that there's always in full contact. And once that alt extractor has a hold of that bearing, just add some leveraging pieces from the system, and with the controlled screwing motion of the bearing press, pull that bearing out.
Oh.
What are you doing down there?
The alt extractor comes in 7 sizes which relate to the bearing ID: 10, 12, 15, 17, 18, 20, and 25 millimeters. And it can extract bearings up to 14 millimeters wide. And you can get the alt extractor in single sizes, or you can get the all sizes pack, or you can get the popular size pack, and there's even a version called value pack, which saves you money. Don't let hub and suspension bearing swaps stress you out. I've got tools and I got a fair bit of information on the Alt website. So if you're looking to do a bearing swap, or if you're looking for a shop tool, start your research here. And as usual, if you got a question, shoot me an email. Hope you like the new system. This one's gotta be enough.